Good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani with the Rudy Giuliani Show from Washington, D.C. Believe it or not. The Puzzle Palace, the Swamp. What else should we call it? Enlightened a great deal by the presence of Donald Trump and his reform administration that in a short period of time has done remarkable things. Even today, the bill passed by one vote, the vote of the Vice President Vance. It contains the critical things that he needs, and we'll discuss that with Kara very shortly. She's going to be with us live. You guys never saw her live. She is alive. I know, you've always seen her on the screen. Well, now you're going to see her on the screen in person. Doesn't make much sense, actually. Okay, well, I'll figure that all out. Before we get to that, however, another report was put out today. Well, actually, it isn't another report. There was a summary of it put out the other day, and the full report was put out today from the Institute for Science and International Security, which said that the attack on Fordow and Natanz and was about as successful as it could possibly be. The amount of ordnance that was used is almost unprecedented. They're trying to think of another time that one bomb hit the same place as often as that one. And it wasn't a bomb, of course. It's an earth separator. So if you remember the way it goes off, there's no big explosion when it hits the ground, right? So when we watch the rockets either hitting in Israel or hitting in Iran or Gaza, or even when they're intercepted and some of it falls to the ground, the minute it hits the ground, you see a big explosion. With the bunker buster, you see cloud. Originally, it almost looks like a small, tiny nuclear weapon to start with. It looks like it's going to start out off to be one of those atomic or hydrogen clouds, but much smaller. So you see a cloud come up. The reason that is because nothing ignited. It just pierced through the ground. The kinetic force of the 30,000-pound bomb that's in a V shape and is very, very narrow. The force explodes the earth, and it goes down, a long distance, and then it explodes. And then maybe 4 seconds later, 5 seconds later, after seeing the cloud, you see a burst of fire, and the fire goes on for some time. Now, what the pilot is doing is repeating that. That's how they get half a mile down into the earth. That gets you maybe a quarter of the way there. Then the second bomb hits, and there's even less smoke with that one, and because it doesn't really make contact until it gets miles into the earth. Then it opens up another hole, and 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 they still haven't determined the exact amount of it, except it's much further down than they thought it could go. So whatever the precise actual percentage of damage, this is a disaster for the Reign of Terror because of, just think of the amount of money it will cost to rebuild this, if they can do it. Also, the scientists who were taken out now amount to at least 17, and they were taken out right at the beginning, so that they don't really have their senior people available in the biggest nuclear emergency they've ever had. Right? This never happened to anyone. If someone took out a lot of their nuclear capacity after who knows how much they've spent on it. Estimates are somewhere around $3 trillion. For a country that was in financial disaster before this attack, you can imagine where they are now. And by the way, China and Russia aren't returning calls from the Ayatollah or whoever the hell calls for the Ayatollah. Maybe he's down to sending carrier pigeons now. So we'll see what happens, and we'll give you the details on it in a little while. And so the provisions pretty much 100. How many amendments did we say there were? 148.
438. That's the House. That's the House side.
Yeah, 438. 438.
Which is the same number as members.
What?
Well, there's 435 members of the House.
Oh.
So it's very close, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it depends on whether you're counting numbers of functions.
Right. And we might be talking about the single digits if we're talking that kind of talk,
functioning numbers.
Functioning members.
So what is this bill that's now going to the Senate, and they have 3 days to do it? It's mostly a tax reduction, massive continuation of a tax reduction, and some additions on it that are precisely geared to the middle class and the lower middle class, not to the rich. But no matter what, Chuck E. Cheese, the trader to Israel, keeps repeating, this is a bill to benefit the billionaires. Now, for the life of me, I was trying to get Ted to interview a billionaire that earns tips and therefore will be helped by the bill. We know of no billionaire that has any income from tips.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Nor do I know one that it really counts on his $3,000 to $5,000 a month in Social Security if he collects it. You get my meaning? Yeah. Every single one of these deductions, including the child credit. Actually, the only guy who would really benefit from a child credit would be Elon Musk because he has so many. But other than that, I still don't think Elon Musk is going to make it or break it based on the child credit. Every one of those additional add-on tax provisions was to benefit. Hard to make this, it's hard to exactly, are you talking middle class, slightly upper middle class, slightly lower middle? You're talking working people. Remember, the lower half of our income levels benefit, have the median benefit. In other words, there are some at the higher end that might do a little bit better because they pay more taxes, but everybody benefits. Now you say to yourself, well, how do the people that don't pay taxes benefit? Well, which is what about 40% of the country, right? That don't pay taxes. Well, the child credit, they get the money. I mean, our tax system has turned into a welfare program too. Well, everything is a welfare program. And one of the things this bill still has in it is the workfare requirement for Medicare and for food assistance. I believe it's 18 hours a week or 20, just as it was in New York when I put it in effect, the second in the nation. And it was enormously successful. I would say it had as much to do with the stabilization of the city as crime reduction. And the new spending is all extremely critical. $46 billion for the border wall that everyone used to agree we needed until Trump was in favor of it. Then Democrats were against it. Somewhere between 45 and 100 billion, as much as 100 billion, for migrant detention facility beds, like the one we saw in Alcatraz. Alligator.
Alcatraz.
I guess they're telling you don't want to.
Calling it?
Alligator.
Unlike Alcatraz, you don't want to take a shot at swimming out of it, unless you're a good serpentine swimmer. You actually can avoid an alligator. The alligator has to go straight ahead. He can't move. And if you get behind him, you have the advantage. And that's how the people who capture them do it. They come in from behind them and grab the neck. And they can't turn around. They're very, very prehistoric, minimalist creatures that obviously can do a lot of damage. So there's 45 to 100 million, depending on what's going to be necessary. Maybe we're going to save a little there because the entry into the country stopped almost like on a dime. I have to tell you, I predicted for you a year ago, 2 years ago, that the easiest thing for him to do, most people couldn't do it, but for him, would be the border control. But I did say it will take a year or so. It took a day. Nobody came in May. There are going to be 10,000 new ICE agents. Somehow it seems to me, Ted, there should be more than that. But I don't know.
10,000?
Yeah.
10,000 new additional.
Remember the Democrats, instead of having 10,000 new ICE agents, had them go get trained at Radio City Music Hall as escorts, because their primary function, the Border Patrol and ICE and the ICE people, were to escort rapists, murderers, spies, fentanyl dealers into the United States. Not that it's their fault. That was ordered by the cabal that substituted for a president's brain. And then, of course, $25 billion as a down payment on the Golden Dome. Now, that's really a down payment. That thing's going to cost a fortune, but it'll be well worth it if it protects us. So you got a sense of what it's like. It's silly to go into much more detail on it because the real trick now is, what is the Senate going to do with it? So when we come back, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll have with us Kara Castronova, and we'll have her describe for us, because I need a translator when I come here. She'll talk Washington, and I'll understand it. Okay? We'll be right back.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20, for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com, Lindell. Promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
They're calling it Alligator Alcatraz, a brand new migrant detention center rising out of the Florida swamp, surrounded not just by fences, but by the most brutal security system that nature has to offer. Out there, 50 miles from Miami, escape isn't just illegal, it's suicidal. We're talking alligators, American crocodiles, Burmese pythons, black bears, and yes, the critically endangered but very real Florida panther. If you try to run, you'd better be faster than a reptile and braver than a big cat.
The snakes are fast, but alligators, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison. How to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%.
The Everglades surrounding Alligator Alcatraz are also crawling with danger, from swarms of bloodthirsty mosquitoes carrying deadly viruses like West Nile and dengue, to venomous spiders, fire ants, and disease-spreading ticks lurking in the underbrush. This facility sits on the old Dade Collier airstrip, repurposed with temporary tents to hold up to 5,000 migrants, many with criminal records. Governor DeSantis and Attorney General James Uthmir have praised it as a natural deterrent for illegal border crossings. Here is what President Trump had to say.
I mean, you don't always have land so beautiful and so secure. We have a lot of bodyguards and a lot of cops that are in the form of alligators. You don't have to pay them so much. But I wouldn't want to run through the Everglades for long. It will keep people where they're supposed to be. This is a very important thing.
Of course, not everyone is applauding. Liberal activist groups and international human rights monitors are already blasting the facility as inhumane, with some filing lawsuits to shut it down before the first detainee even arrives. They argue the swampy conditions and the threat of wild animals amount to cruel and unusual punishment. Supporters of Alligator Alcatraz say that unfortunately for illegal aliens, the only legal sanctuary in Florida is reserved for endangered crocodiles and panthers.
Do you think that alligators are going to be more like vicious than correctional officers, or?
I think it puts more fear into people.
Right.
Yes.
Reporting for
Yeah, he was having fun with that.
Right.
But you know, if you think about it, it does add an extra deterrent, doesn't it?
It does. I think that people wouldn't want to face an alligator, crocodile, or a python and try to escape from prison, or even want to be there. So it's pretty scary. I think,
What a
Mr.
name! What a
Mayor.
name! There you are sitting in Venezuela, thinking about coming here, and you say, "I could end up in the worst prison in the world in El Salvador." Oh, but then I could end up at Alligator Alcatraz.
Right. So I had hoped to go see it. Actually, I tried to get on the last minute flight, but didn't happen. But I wanted to go down
So
today.
one time in 2020, I took a trip with him in a helicopter over the Everglades. It was one of his press secretaries. I'll tell you off air who. And all he did on the entire way over is have us look down, and he was telling stories about alligators. She got her so scared. He told her that alligators like to eat helicopters.
Oh my God.
He is fascinated with alligators. That whole thing about serpentine, and so tell us about the big. Well, that is the big talk, the big beautiful bill.
Well, yeah, today, for the most part, the president obviously went down to Florida. He met with Ron DeSantis, and Kristi Noem joined them, and they toured this facility. And people are talking about now building similar facilities in other states.
Right.
And so that was the big news this morning. And then obviously the big beautiful bill, it was announced that passed through the Senate, and it's getting sent to the House. And you should have the support it needs to be on the president's desk by July 4th. There's a few Republican holdouts, but people are positive that
On the House side.
On the House side. I think there's 5. One of them is Thomas Massey, but it should pass, and that's what people are predicting.
Why doesn't Trump do a fake on him and pretend he's against the bill, and then Massey will vote for it?
Possibly. And Elon Musk is now resharing Thomas Massey. Looks like he might fund him. The more big news is Elon
Why
Musk.
did it break? So Ted and I were very confused because it came down by plane. Why did it break out again? I mean, this fight was kind of over.
Because
What was the proximate cause of the truce?
I was hoping, and I'm sure you were too, that they would make up and be friends, because it's always good to have the highest billionaire in the world on our side.
Yeah,
but
the richest man.
right, of course, we want
good
that.
combination.
But unfortunately, he was still mad. Elon Musk is still upset that the bill's passing. People are saying it could be because of the subsidies getting taken away from the electric vehicles.
They took every single one
Right,
away.
he's upset for obvious reasons. And Trump said something along the lines, I wish I had the clip to play for you, that he is going to have Doge look into Elon Musk now.
Yeah, that's what
Right. He said, maybe it's time we have Doge look at Elon Musk and all those subsidies and everything that he's doing. And, he might have to go back to South Africa without any of these subsidies. He might have to close shop.
But I thought maybe I missed something that Musk said that got the president.
He was just
all worked up
tweeting
again.
about the bill
about
and how
terrible
horrible it is. And,
Yeah,
he
really?
said he's going to run primaries against anyone that votes for it. And then this is what it was. He's starting the America Party. He's starting a new party, and he's doing polls on X saying 41% of the population wants a new party, and he's going to call it the America Party. So I don't know if that got on President Trump's
Why
nerve,
don't they
thinking.
pick a candidate in New York to run for mayor and give him like $1 billion or something so they can beat the communists that's running?
I
it?
know. What are your thoughts? Are you an Adams supporter now?
Well, I don't know Curtis or Adams. I'm going back
Right.
and forth. My view is you've got to pick the one who can win. then you got to do the best you can to convince the other one to support him.
Right.
Because I don't think both of them in the race, I think they just have no chance.
Right.
If and I don't know which one would have the better chance of the two. So Adams would normally have the better chance, but he's very negative right now. He's not gotten over the people feeling upset with him because of all the investigations.
Right.
It didn't have the same effect as it had for Trump.
Right.
I think people are worried maybe there's something to it. Whereas with Trump, it was pretty much all bull.
Right.
And I sort of changed my view a little on Adams. I don't think he's that bad a mayor. I think he's not a very good campaigner.
Right.
You know,
I think he's mediocre, but he's not the worst. I think Bill de Blasio was worse. I don't
my
know if you
gosh,
agree
yeah.
with me
Yeah.
there. And I think Cuomo would have probably been even worse
Yeah,
than him.
Jenkins, we don't remember, but I remember Jenkins since I ran against him twice. He was worse also
Right.
than Adams. Adams is more functional
Right.
than Jenkins was. Jenkins almost couldn't do anything.
Right.
And I think Adams' biggest problem is, in a strange way, he's not tough enough. He'll keep telling you what he's got to do. Then he runs into problems in his crazy party, and he doesn't
Right.
go to the wall with them. And you think he would because they've kind of double crossed him completely.
Yeah, no, they have.
Yeah.
They have. So
So
a lot of people are saying Curtis to drop out. I know a lot of Republicans are now that were for Curtis, and now all of a sudden,
well, like John Castrovicidis
Right.
is for right, Ted?
he's for
Castrovicidis
Adams.
is
Yeah, he's
actually-
for
is actually-
Adams.
Yeah, that's
And people are paying
my
attention.
understanding. But hopefully, Mayor, we can all, and it might take some time, and come together on a consensus candidate.
Well, that's what
my hope.
I think it needs a little time. And I think you have to think about the city and you have to say to yourself, who has the better chance of winning? And then do what you can to talk the other guy into supporting him, because it's just useless if the two of them run.
Yeah.
Then Curtis will keep most of the Republican vote. Adams might get a little. The question is, how much of the Democratic vote can Adams get? I mean, there's a lot of Democrats didn't vote, but will they vote for Adams?
Right. It's interesting, and people should care about New York because when it starts in New York, it spreads everywhere else, as you know,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Mayor.
yeah.
So
The White House happy?
people at the White House, are they
Yeah,
happy?
yeah.
I would say so. I mean, the journalists are happy because Trump is more interesting than the past president, obviously.
Yeah.
There's more activity. From what I know from reporters that were there for the past 4 years, they said they would sit there all day
Yeah.
long falling asleep because there was nothing going on and there were no press briefings and the president was never doing anything. So there was nothing to report on.
Yeah. It has to be a lot better than that. And it has to be a lot better than his first term, where he was under every day was a subpoena.
Right.
Every day was a
Right.
new subpoena and some big exaggerated headline. This is a blockbuster that's going to remove him, and here's another blockbuster, and here's another blockbuster. And it turned out they were all lies.
Well, do you know what's different now too? Is that now they have the new media where they're letting, in the first Trump term, they didn't come up with this brilliant idea to let non-mainstream media in. So now we kind of check and balance.
That's great.
Right. We were checking and balancing
great the
that.
other day.
Thank you. I got a question with the president, but when we're there, I feel like the mainstream media is watching and they kind of taper, they're like censoring themselves because they're wondering if their narrative is right. They hear all these reporters reporting something completely different than what they are. And then they're rethinking their stance. So like we sound extreme because they do, they are extreme and they lie a lot. So I think we're causing them to actually tell the truth a little bit more.
Well, I've noticed that they are more well behaved than they
Right.
even were under Biden. They get a little crazy too. They wouldn't get challenging. They just
Right.
get insulting and crazy.
Right. Right.
They didn't get like a bunch of babies. They
Right.
get everything they wanted. They started yelling and screaming, and it was like an out of control kindergarten class.
I think that their network heads gave them the instructions because Trump obviously won the popular vote, and a lot of viewers were lost on CNN and all these other mainstream media. Where now they realize that the way that they were acting is not something their audience wants to see.
Right. They probably get some pretty good ratings on the press. I mean, a lot of people just look forward to his press conference.
People like seeing it. And what was interesting with the last briefing when I ex-president, no, actually Caroline Levitt did a briefing after that, and they always go to CNN. It's just traditional because CNN is one of the big five networks.
Yeah.
And she didn't go to Caitlin from CNN. And I don't know if it has anything to do, I don't know if you heard about the ICE app that Kristi Noem spoke about today?
Yeah, the ISAP.
Or
that,
CNN is
the
warning.
ISAP
Right.
that's part of aiding and abetting.
Right. So I don't know what your thoughts
The
are. Could
obstruction of justice.
CNN be prosecuted by DOJ
Sure.
for aiding and abetting?
It's a straight out and out obstruction. I mean, go back to the January 6th case when they had that stupid obstruction
Right.
count in.
Right.
This is much more obstruction than that.
Right. Do you think that they'll actually get hopefully sued? I'm crossing my fingers. I'll take the CNN seat. It's a really good
Where
seat.
where was the app? Where was the app working?
I don't know. I guess it's an app people could download on their phones that alert them to when ICE agents
You
are
see,
around.
they'd have to be real careful for the opposite reason, not to bring the case in the district, because we'll end up with a Democratic
Right.
jury and they'll acquit them.
Right.
But
Could
that-
they bring it anywhere that it
any
aired?
place that it
Anywhere
happened.
that it aired.
any place that it happened,
Right.
and probably happened in a multiple group of places.
Right.
Go pick like Alabama or something.
Yeah,
something
where
like
it probably aired
that.
nationally.
Someplace where they actually follow the law.
Right.
That might be good.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
look
would
great.
forward to it. Thank you.
And
So do
and
you.
you're doing great.
So I am.
How did you get used to it? I mean, how did you get used to being? And the White House is kind of intimidating.
It's nice being at the White House. What's a little different is being in DC compared to New York. Could you imagine? I miss New York. How about you? We love New York.
I
do
miss it, but I'm so sad for it.
I am too.
It's both feelings. I miss it, and I just wonder what's going to happen to it.
Right. It's
I
too
mean, this
bad
guy
you
could
can't- right.
easily win.
I know he has a lot of support.
I don't understand. I don't understand why anybody. I keep watching that clip they have where he starts talking in a foreign language, and then he goes crazy and he starts jumping up and down and yelling. And
I think it's really just an illustration of how the Democrat Party is continuing to run horrible candidates, and people are sick of them.
yeah,
You know, they're running Cuomo, who was disgraced. Like nobody's voting for that guy. Maybe they should have thought about that before they decided to run someone like Cuomo.
they threw him out of office.
Right.
And
And then they run him as mayor. So, you know, the Democrat Party still needs to wake up. They haven't gotten the message 5 months ago that they have to change completely, you know?
And this guy wants to set up free grocery stores. I mean, I didn't even want to go through it. Wants to set up free grocery stores, free transportation. Everything is free. And then he's going to tax the rich people.
Right.
But I don't know if he knows if he takes much longer. There aren't many rich
Right.
people.
There's not going to be many left.
He's got to tax himself because he's rich.
And the thing that bothers me about him is that, you know, I came into contact with a lot of Muslims when I ran for office, and they're all really against the transgender agenda. They're very religious. They're very conservative in their viewpoints. And for him, you know, being Muslim, I find it hard to believe that he's so into these transitional.
It's amazing that he does seems to accept jihad, but not the teachings of the Muslim religion on.
Right, like on not changing your sex, and you know, he's for, I guess, these sex changes for minors in New York City.
I mean, that would be unthinkable.
Yeah,
You know what Muhammad would do to him.
right, and they're trying to make it. From what I understand, like the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, they're trying to make New York sort of like a sanctuary city for transgender people to come get surgeries.
Right. Well, actually, Minneapolis is right now.
Right. That's what they want.
They passed a law a couple of years ago. You can get transgender surgery there without permission of your parents. Like it's 13. No, you have to be 12 or over.
Right.
So
It's
a 12-year-old
scary.
can walk in and
Really
say, "I want to
scary.
change my sex," and don't have to get mommy and daddy because you are the property of the state.
Right. It's
You
scary.
belong to the
Very
state.
scary.
Well, thank you very much, Kara.
Thank you so much,
It's great
Mr.
to be
Mayor. It
here
was good
with
to
you.
see you in
It's great-
person.
it's great to be
and
here
have
with
fun
you.
tomorrow. And I hope you're at the White House
I'm
tomorrow.
going to try. I'm going to try to come to.
I'm going to fill out the form for you.
I haven't been to the White House since President Trump left. The day he left, and
Okay.
of course I did not go back to the Biden White House because I'm afraid they put me in the
Right.
same
They might
leg
throw you
irons.
in like the dungeon underneath the White
Yeah,
House.
like they did to my
with the
friend Peter Navarro. They put the leg irons on.
Yeah, it would be very
Well,
scary.
Peter's a very scary guy. He had to put he was very dangerous.
Yeah.
Peter Navarro's a very dangerous.
Is he no martial arts?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I don't know if he does.
He
I
looks-
don't know that he does. But I don't even think when I was U.S. attorney, I even thought we had leg irons.
Right, right.
I invested some pretty
Yeah, no, they
dangerous
do.
people.
They do. We found out in January 6th, grandma's got leg irons. So,
well,
you know.
we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Come back. And we're on.
Welcome back to the Rudy Giuliani Show on Lindell TV. And he's a regular now. Here's our regular guest, Ali Reza, Jeff Sardardi, who is the Deputy Director of NCRI.
Exactly. Washington office of NCRI.
Which has become enormously controversial. And you gave me all those reports that I have here, so you can summarize. But for the last 2 weeks, MEK has been all over the French newspaper. I think the major newspaper in France is Figaro.
Figaro, yes.
Yeah, and it's been all over Figaro with the Iranian government making all kinds of charges. I mean, I think they're seeing shadows too. I mean, I'm not going to ask you what's true and what's not true. I have a sense that it's not all true, but I have a sense that maybe some of it is. But in any event, I think you got them spooked. But they see MEK coming out of the shadows at this point. But the funniest thing about it isn't funny, but the most critical thing about this that gives you an idea of how important this organization is. So the left wing and all of the pro-Iran idiots in the White House and in the Biden White House and in the State Department will always say, "Oh, MEK is not really important, and it's insignificant." And then all of a sudden, about 2 or 3 years ago, the Ayatollah actually makes a statement saying, "The only organization that I think has the capacity that I worry about that could overthrow us." Now, why he said this, I don't know, is MEK. And of course, all you have to do is pay attention. Is it in Tehran or is it all over Iran that they chant death to America, death to Israel, death to MEK? All over or just
It's
Tehran?
all over Iran, actually, since right after the revolution, when the regime set up those Friday prayers and they defined their enemies. Shortly after that, there have been 3 chants that have been said through the microphone at the podium of the Friday prayers by all the clerics and the top leaders: death to America, death to Israel, and death to the MEK. Obviously, death to America defines how they're rallying their own Revolutionary Guards behind that. That explains why the regime took over 52 Americans hostage for 444 days in Tehran, how they targeted the Americans in the region and everywhere else, trying to take advantage of that. And then death to Israel actually was the foundation for their work, proxy work in the region. It's not a coincidence that the most deadly force by the Revolutionary Guards, known as the Quds Force, that does all their terrorism, is actually named after Quds. And then they had the, targeting the, the support they built for Hezbollah and all of that. And then those two are actually external. Internally, their focus has been on the MEK, because the MEK are the Muslims who are vehemently anti-extremist, anti-Islamist. They say the mullahs do not represent the religion of the Iranian people. And it's been very effective in leading a fight against the regime since day one. The women play a significant role within the MEK since 1986. 9 consecutive secretaries general of the MEK have all been women, which goes to the core of the ideology of the mullahs, because the foundation of that ideology is on misogyny, and to the contrary.
You're breaking it not just not just with rights legislation and stuff, breaking it in practice.
Exactly, both in practice and also they have been very appealing to the Iranian population, who want to keep their own religion, but they don't want to have to do anything with the mullahs. And here is the MEK, very intellectual.
Well, I mean, like any gigantic religion, which it is, it's pretty close to the same size as Catholicism, like within 100,000 of each other. So it has a lot of different versions. I mean, there are people that are very strict. There are people that are very loose. There are people that are in between. There are people that don't practice the religion, but they are part of the religion. You've got that with Jews. You've got that with Christians. You've got that with Muslims. To think that every Muslim is the same is like thinking every Christian is the same, which is not true. Or every Jew is the same. You can go from extremely Orthodox Jewish people to people who are Jewish in name only.
The problem with the mullahs is that they're using that religion as a cover as a facade for their extremely fascist ideology, a destructive ideology that is against human beings. It's not even against other religions. The main victims of this regime are actually Muslims in Iran. A vast majority, 99% of the Iranian population are Muslims. So, and they're against this regime. So that's why that has acted as a cover for everything they do, justifying it. The killings against the people, stoning women to death, chopping people's hands off, justifying attacking other religions or other people, justifying their terrorism under all of that. And that's why they see the MEK, because it's exactly the opposite. They see that as their big enemy. And increasingly, that has become a major concern for the mullahs, because they're gaining momentum. They build this network of supporters inside the country known as resistance units, who are confronting the Revolutionary Guards on a day-to-day basis. And the mullahs feel that the young generation is getting increasingly appealed to the MEK, and that's why they continue this fight. And even just last week, when Khamenei spoke, the 3 chants that followed that by their supporters who were watching was actually the death to America, death to Israel, and death to the MEK.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. The day I think it was right after the president announced that we're going to try to have a ceasefire or a truce. They're having like I thought it was a celebration. And they yelled out, "Death to Israel, death to America, death to the MEK." We had just sort of like tried to make peace. And their answer of peace is, go drop dead. I mean, they really are a pathological. You don't know how to describe them. They've sort of, another way you can describe them a lot of different ways. Like they've weaponized religion. You could say they weaponize. They've taken the religion. They've taken all the worst things they can take out of it because it's an old religion, right? And then they've exaggerated it even and weaponized it, and require you to follow it, whether you agree with that or you don't. It would be as if somebody took over the Jewish religion and said that all Jews now had to stone people, like they did, in the early part of the Old Testament. They had to go stone people. And they didn't stone people that really weren't Jews. And that's really what they're doing. So what? So Figaro had an article today saying that they're really cracking down on that. That Figaro, the French newspaper, reminded everyone of the incident that we remember so well in 2018, when the regime sent was one of the diplomats and a couple of other people
Yes.
to bomb the gathering.
Yes.
That and they mentioned in the newspaper today, Richardson, myself, and
Right. Definitely,
Madam Rajovi.
you and
And-
Governor Richardson, so many other Americans were there.
Oh, yeah,
but
let's
also,
think about that.
yes,
Governor Richardson, Democrat.
right, exactly.
Today we talked to Bob Torricelli.
Yes,
Democrat.
exactly. Very bipartisan. Actually, this movement has had very bipartisan support over
If
the
I
years,
recall,
both in the
At that one where they were going to do the bombing, you had a lot of European former heads of state or prime ministers, or you had 3 or 4 very distinguished.
many very distinguished politicians from Europe, the United States, sitting members of parliaments from Europe, over 600 parliamentarians.
It was one of your best
were there.
gatherings. It was one of your best gatherings.
One of the best and most organized. But 100,000 people were there.
Because the protests were going on then. They were right. The protests were
Right.
Were hot and heavy. And,
Yes, and actually, right before that, the first round of major uprisings had started in Iran.
and it was spreading
Right, and
way
then
beyond Tehran.
exactly, and then actually, the Mrs. Mariam Rajavi was the keynote speaker, and then right before the event started, without anyone noticing, the 3 different countries were involved in neutralizing a massive
I'd
terror
forgotten about Germany.
operations.
The article's in today's
right.
Figaro, and they say Belgium, France, and Germany.
Right.
And Germany played a key role in it.
Actually,
they caught the diplomat, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The diplomat who was an official diplomat of the Iran regime who had brought a powerful bomb from Iran on a commercial flight in a diplomatic pouch, and then went to Luxembourg, gave that bomb to 2 culprits. And then when he was driving back, going through Germany, he was arrested there.
Yeah.
And then 2 other culprits who got the bomb were arrested by the Belgians. And then another culprit who was at the event was arrested by the French. A trial went on for several months, and eventually that person was sentenced to 20 years for involving terrorism. The first time an official diplomat of the regime was sentenced and convicted and sentenced to terrorism, guess what happened? 5 years later, the regime took some hostages, some Belgian hostages, and did a quid pro quo and got that guy released. He's now in Tehran and, boasting about he was welcomed by the Iranian officials. That's the core of the appeasement policy, Mayor, that has turned out to be extremely destructive, contributing to the continuation of terrorism, because terrorism turned out to be a very profitable business for the Ayatollahs over the years. And this is like one example. And that's why Figaro was talking again today about the possibility of the Iranian regime's sleeper cells and their agents operating in France and trying to target Iranian opposition the same way they tried to target in 2018. They feel that they're so desperate, they're so vulnerable now in Iran, especially as a result of the uprisings. So they would do anything to even target the opposition.
Well, it's amazing because that is taking up the time of a lot of American law enforcement too. I don't know how good the information is because it's all these people who came in under Biden. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. I think we're trying to gather the information, but there've been a bunch of arrests made of Iranians, and there've been Iranians caught at the border, and there's a real fear. I mean, some of the FBI people have actually said they believe there is going to be an attack. That there's going to be, and they refer to them as sleeper cells, but they're really the same thing. They're secret groups of professional terrorists, which is what Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. I don't even think they have a competitor for terrorism.
Not even close.
Yeah,
Not even close.
Russia and China kind of on the side support it, but that isn't their main mission. Their main mission is to support these terrorist groups.
The regime is actually built on terrorism, on 2 pillars: terrorism and development of nuclear weapons and missile outside of Iran, and repression inside the country. And I think, the Iran regime should, their threat should be taken very seriously because they're so vulnerable, so weak now. They know the people are against them, so they would do anything, including in the United States, including in Europe.
How legitimately religious is the Ayatollah and the people around? Like when they say they would give up their life gladly because they'd go to paradise, and do they mean that, or is that because the Ayatollah seems to go run and hide a lot? So if he was so anxious to go to paradise, I don't know why he wouldn't sit there and.
Honestly,
I just wonder
Mayor,
how suicidal
it
are
has
they?
nothing to do with religion or their beliefs, none of that. And it's not an accident that none of the top leaders of the Iran regime or those clerics or their family members have ever, gotten killed or anything like that. It's just the ordinary people. They send, like during the Iran-Iraq war, that they used children to clear the minefields by tens of thousands.
They're not,
and not even one of the mullahs showed up at the war fronts and get killed there. So they know this is just a cover. They don't believe in any of those things. This is like the religion is a tool to keep themselves in power,
right?
And hide their fascism. And that's why we shouldn't pay attention to whatever claims, promises they make. They say, oh, the supreme leader hasn't decided that they're going to develop nuclear weapons. He has promises.
People should get that from the fact that the communists have a very easy time, like China and Russia, particularly China, of dealing with them. And of course, the communists are atheists. And if these people were truly religious, they wouldn't be able to deal with each other. I think about it. I mean, in China, the truly religious Muslims, China's attempting genocide.
Right.
If you really are a religious Muslim, they're going to kill you.
Yes.
So they feel pretty comfortable that this is the way they use communism. They're using the religion.
Exactly. And I think one point that I think became very evident, especially in the past, 2-3 weeks when the war started and all of that, I think it was very evident that our movement, actually led by a woman, Mrs. Mariam Rajavi, since the beginning, actually, interestingly, just about 5 days after that, she was scheduled to speak at the European Parliament. And then on June 18th, she spoke there. And she told the European parliamentarians, there were dozens of them, she told them 21 years ago, around this time, I spoke at this very same European Parliament. And I warned all of you against appeasement and against war. I highlighted that appeasement will get you to war, and look where we are. And she said, I offered a third option, which is relying on the people of Iran to bring about change. And that remains the same solution. Now, a few days later, President Trump made an offer for peace after those 3 major nuclear sites of Iran were targeted. Mrs. Rajavi immediately put out a statement welcoming the proposal for peace, saying that we welcome it. That needs to end. The focus should be on the real war that is between the people of Iran and the Iranian regime, and we are the ones who are going to carry out. The people of Iran who bring an end to it. And then on the 24th of June, when President Trump announced the ceasefire between Iran and Israel, again, immediately she put out a statement welcoming it, saying this is a step forward for the third option, which is bringing down the Ayatollahs by the people of Iran and having a permanent peace and security and stability in that part of the world. I think that's very important to understand, that the Iranian resistance has always relied on the people of Iran to bring about change. That change is doable, is achievable, given especially the power of the movement that showed its capability by exposing all of the major nuclear sites of Iran, but also relying on the major uprisings in Iran since 2018. And that, she said, we are not asking for foreign boots on the ground or the appropriation of money. That's the responsibility of the people of Iran. All the United States and Europe need to do is to hold the regime accountable, Don't give him money and resources. Recognize the right of the people of Iran to overthrow the regime. Recognize the right of those resistance units to confront the Revolution Guards.
That should be pretty simple. I mean, that's essentially what the Arab Spring was all about.
Exactly.
Except Iran was left out of it.
Right.
It took everybody else out except the one that had to be taken out, the most important one to take out. And do you get a sense that within, like I've seen articles now you never saw before, and this may have even been in the Times of all places, that there are people there publicly expressing themselves. I saw one with pictures of children, and they were being asked, "Aren't you afraid your children are going to be killed if there's like an uprising?" And they said, "No, because we're afraid our children are going to be killed anyway. If we have to stay in this regime, they don't have any future. So we hope they're not killed, and we'll do everything to prevent it. But we're not going to step back for that reason."
Absolutely. The people of Iran would never step back because they see it so long as the mullahs are in power every day. Some of them are gradually dying. Some are actually getting shot and killed. And they're suffering. The economy is in shambles. Iran is a very rich country. We have the second largest oil and gas reserves combined in the world. Yet 80% of the Iranian population live below the poverty line. Where does the money go? It goes to those proxies. It goes to the nuclear weapons program. You know, Iran's nuclear weapons program has cost Iran $2 trillion. That needs to stop.
Well, I think it is going to stop. I think if in fact there's anything left of it, and it shows the light of day, he has already said he'll bomb them again if he has to. And I think he's done a very good job, the president has, of separating it. There wasn't a sense that he went to war against the Iranian people. He went to war against the nuclear sites. I mean, it's really amazing. It was very, very targeted. I don't know that there were that many casualties, civilian casualties. There were some military targets and some science targets. Well, thank you. You must be very, very busy keeping up with everything that's going on there. So I keep hoping that something breaks and something happens and the natural force of events just overwhelms them. And I think it will.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I think the point you made about President Trump's position is very spot on. He's been very clear since day one that, he's not going to get involved in regime change, that his focus will be on the nuclear weapons program of the Iran regime. And that's exactly what we want.
Well, we've got to cut out now. I think that was the buzzer it's like the air raid siren. But we'll see you tomorrow night. Go over to X now, and we'll continue our discussion of this topic and, oh gosh, so many others. God bless America.